Hello, Divine. We're in a very interesting, beautiful time. Did you ever imagine that this time would come? The shifts that are taking place are, how can I say it? Cringeworthy is what's coming up to me, but not just cringeworthy. It is about time. Now, I know that it's pretty hard to conceptualize that things are happening for us. And especially when there's so much tragedy that's happening. But if we don't make the shift, we'll blend in on the opposite spectrum. Meaning that transition is happening. Transition is happening. Many of the symbolic deaths are introducing what is taking place on the earth right now massively, which is simply that transition is happening. We do have a higher knowing when it comes to the passing over to the spiritual world. My dear aunt transitioned throughout this time period, and I have received so many messages according to her transition. Yet the humanism within me allowed myself to grieve and mourn in periodic times when necessary for my aunt. I get to do that. And then I also get to have the higher awareness about what's going on too. And that was the aunt who introduced me to the spiritual side of myself, from the stories of my younger age to also aligning me with my first spiritual advisor that I was able to understand, So it's like, whoa. So you can't help but to get the messages at the same time that you are experiencing what is going on the physical earth plane. There is a blend of the spirit and the physical that has been set in place for quite some time. You're witnessing that. You're living the times where you're witnessing that. It's no longer the things that you had in your thought concepts that were just in your house or between one or two friends of yours, and you have this far out conversation, then you go get back to life. Hello. The world is right now in the process of trying to figure out something they cannot see. That some people are rising above it and some people aren't. And it can't be tackled on the 3D physical. This is a process of education. This is a process of time transition. The time transition that we've been seeking to happen here on earth. So bringing it down to the individual, okay? Because when we do an ascension report, ascension is basically that there's a collective of people, and a collective of people are rising together. You can call it what you want, healing together, going into spiritual ascension together, gaining higher awareness together, learning together. It is a collective of people. So when an ascension report comes out, I consider this a great honor. The reason why I consider it a great honor is because I'm able to pull in information that aligns to a collective of people at one time. What this does is that it supports in the confirmation of many, and it allows peace in the direction as many are being guided into a place. What that does is it just simply says you are not alone. Just simply says you are not alone. I mean, you're never alone. And it gives the collective view that you are not alone. So when we break it down to the individual, what is happening with many individuals on the planet right now in this ascension transition is that you're starting to see different aspects of your life, which means I'm seeing the aspect of my life this many years ago. I was this way. This many years ago, I was that way. Now I'm kind of this way, but it's all starting to blend. Because that union is not just a mental concept that we've been speaking of. It is starting to be a life way, which means that you are not just one person according to whatever you're physically aligned to. If you're physically aligned to these people, you're this way. If you're physically aligned to this job, you're this way. If you're physically aligned to this place of location where you lived, you're this way. You're starting to see all these different elements of your fun self back then, of your enlightened self back then, the way you did relationships back then. It's starting to all come within your sphere in many ways, meaning that people are reflecting back to you versions of you, versions of you. So it's all kind of coming together to show you really how parallel universe works. And you're going to see all through this channel of breaking this all down and understanding, one, because the collective have moved to the place of being able to understand higher consciousness view on their own life, which is really what you've wanted. And then when people say, oh, they're psychic, no, they really just see through their own, they see through their own stuff. They see through their own parallel universe, so they kind of can look over and see through yours too. And it just kind of works that way. It's not this big thing. It's just, it's everyday life. It's really everyday life. So these concepts are rolling in because you're seeing all these ways in which you showed up. There was a time when you were so healthy that you saw. There was a time where maybe not so much. There's a lot of fun over there. And it's like all of these versions are you. Yes, they're all you, which means you always have access to it, which means you don't have the limitations that you believed you had according to the physical dimensions of things, which means that you can align to those higher versions of you whenever you want to. You don't necessarily have where you're looking outside of yourself to specific people and situations and things and saying, I'd like to live that life. You're starting to be reflected back to you that these many facets of things are lives in which you've already lived. And you're now getting a chance to align all of the components that serve you and make a beautiful blend because it's accessible to you. That you can live the life of comfort, you can live the life of peace, you can live the life of fun, you can live the life of mental knowing, you can live all of that, and it's not conducive to who you're aligned to, where you're aligned, what you're aligned to, not physical dimensions. It goes within you. It is your united being. So you're really soaking in right now the varied facets of yourself. Some would say the superpowers. It's like, what? I can really access all the parts of myself that serve me? Why wouldn't you? It's you. But not looking at things from the view of the parallel universe, it seemed like I was only fun in that place. I was only financially successful when I was at that place. I was only happy when I was with that person or in that situation. Yeah, programming can do that. It could give you the limitations according to the physical dimensions. And as we begin to talk about the first level and the second level that you will see going on throughout this channel, you'll understand why all of that has become hogwash, and you can literally align to what serves you and live a life that's beneficial to you. And this transitional period is bringing that in mass collective levels. This is a beautiful time to be on earth despite your physical view. We are pulling in the elements of you have choice. You have free will. There's always a choice. There's always a free will. In every situation, you can choose you. You're moving into the system and placement and where that can be understood. You're choosing the you that you want to show up in every situation. And it is all accessible to you. This is what evolvement and this is what ascension perks are about. I am an Earth Ascension practitioner. I fell in it, of course, but why not? Is what I've said to myself. So this is a beautiful time. This is what the Ascension is doing on the individual level, even though we're seeing the mass level of transitions that are happening on this planet. So what you are recognizing is that you have been prepared to be able to shift and change. You've prepared yourself to be able to shift and change within the moment of what serves you. Meaning that you are aligning in connectivity. You are not attached. You remember all that you were learning according to this journey, which is why I decided to transition within the twin flame journey instead of just stopping this way. Those who have been on the twin flame journey have been prepared for this. This is what the journey is all about. You learn how to detach from the physical to align and connect in the way that serves you, no matter what is presented, knowing that you have all that you need within. But it's even bigger in that understanding because now you're being reflected back from the physical, how it's true. And you're seeing, oh, shoot, it is within because that was me that was living that way. That was me that was doing that. That was me. Yes, meaning that all those versions of you are within, meaning that they're all accessible to you. So now the word phrasing that has been said for so long is now becoming into the active life that you are living, meaning that your choices are how you are showing up. Your choices are how you want to live. That you get to align in the way that serves you. You're not attached to the physical circumstance that surrounds you. You have an inner access because it's all within you as to what would serve you in any physical domain situation. All right, if you caught me, congratulations. If it's a little hazy, allow it time to come to you. Allow the ascension to begin to reflect to you. This is a very, very beautiful time. Yet, we do not take away from the fact that this is transition. This is adjustment, which can be a little bit rocky. And that's why you're going to see throughout where I speak about that rockiness. And how that rockiness can affect so many people, okay? And that you really have to know what's going on, or you can get stuck in a place in where you're not believing that things are going to work out for your good, and you're not able to understand that you have the power to align to what serves you. And this is how you can have that long-term connectivity that being very level 1 did not allow. And the reason why I'm speaking in levels is because as I break down what is on level 1 and what is on level 2, then you will understand what prevented the long-term connectivity before and how that season is being transitioned out, which is the beauty to have the things that you've actually been setting goals and desiring for quite some time, but there was always a limitation. It's understanding what that limitation was and how that limitation is no longer in effect. Many of you are starting to feel the brush. Wow. It's not only the breath of fresh air, but it's almost like the way that it's actually coming in. So there's the overwhelmingness that many are feeling, but you can't help but to know that things are forever changed. And that even those who did not have the concept of change, which is what the Ascension journey is about, is constant elevation, are starting to now understand that. Many of you are talking to people and having situations with people that you have not had before, and you're recognizing that there are people who have leveled up with you that you did not expect, and there are people who have transitioned on or out. And this is the things that we'll talk about more and more in detail, but this is what has happened. This is the Ascension period. You won't need as many Ascension reports. The same way is that you also recognize that you're not aligned in the way that you were with tarot. Tarot is beautiful, but when you are a guide, you start to understand that tarot is a guiding tool like everything else, and it supports when you're not able to have your own clarity. It's the same as anything else, and it's beautiful. There is a big collective of people who will benefit from tarot coming in, and that's just those coming in on a soul journey. But many of those of you who have experienced on the twin flame journey, then you're starting to understand now that it was pretty much part of your initiation into having your own clarity, your own downloads, your own awareness about things, and you're figuring out many ways to receive that information. Many ways to receive that information. And now it's really about understanding yourself and understanding how you connect to the world and how you guide in the collective of people that you are kind of residing over. So that's really what things are about heavy on this channel right now. And not to say that periodically tarot will not support as far as the ascension, because again, this is constant elevation. So you'll also notice that whenever you're within those shifting points, there might be a little bit of a haze, that there's always support there, that something can come in and give you a confirmational nod, but you're not looking to be guided by any specific thing, by any specific person, by any specific situation. You are being guided by your own internal knowing, and that anything that you align to is the confirmation thereof. And if you receive it prior to the event, then it will support you once it rolls in to have peace within. And if you receive the information after the event, it is that confirmational place that everything was fine, that you were just within. So these are the places that we're branching into. And if I decide to do anything special for the large collective that is coming in, it will probably be another introductory channel or so. And then you'll also recognize the channel that I did have, that I branched off just to see who was ready for all of this. You know that my background is in it's the PhD side of the doctor area, so everything is kind of research, and you just really have to see what's happening. So I was able to see that there was a small percentage of people on the journey who were ready for higher conscious awareness than those who were really just seeking clarity to get them through the day, which supported in the timetable that was needed before beginning to introduce new bodies of information. Now that that timetable has happened, and you'll recognize that many of the things that I was putting out before, it was really ahead of time. You'll also now have access, if you'd like to, you can have access to the entire journey of Twin Flames that I actually read throughout tarot. You can actually get that below. I'm going to bundle that together. If it's not attached to this video, it'll be attached to the ones coming in, so you can look out for that. So you can actually have all of those within a year, and it actually goes within the journey. And I'll maybe do some detail on that if not here, but I'll just say it here, because really you go through the journey, you know exactly what's going to happen. The beautiful readers that are out there now, they're really just begging people to ascend. They're really begging them to ascend, and they're regurgitating the same thing to just get as many people as they can. Like, come on. It's like, come on. So it's really hats off and hearts to them. It's only for so long that people will want to do that, because you're really trying to pull lower energy up high, and it's so much compassion, because there's an understanding as to being in that space of like, okay, you know, I want to be linked to my physical thing, which is my person or my money or my job situation or this. They're very physical minded in that way. And it's like, look, this is all that I'm focused on. I can't go into higher conscious thought right now because I need this stuff taken care of. So give me a message on what this is going to be about so I can have some peace to get through the night. That is okay, and it is homage to all of that. And those are beautiful readers who are out there just supporting people in that domain just to give them peace for the night, peace for the night. And when I was reading for the journey, you notice I was on consistently, you know, and it was just like I had to be on every week and multiple times throughout days, because you're literally feeding an addictive energy of supporting people in having peace for the night, because they aren't able to get clarity in their situations. I'm very hooked on the physical and what it's introducing and believing that that's it. What they're seeing is what it is. So much homage, because it really drains the energy. You know, I did it for a year and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, and the outcomes is very small numbers who actually reach that level of ascending out of that space. And that's heartbreaking, but those numbers are getting ready to increase. And it was so much work that was needed initially just to focus on the twin flames so they can actually come out with many of the things that you guys are coming out with. When I receive emails, there are books, there are schools, you know, there are podcasts, there's YouTube channels. There are so many things that people are doing to support people in higher conscious awareness. That's really beautiful. And then some of you are going in the reins to actually support those and giving peace for the night when it comes in with tarot introduction or ascension reports within that area, and so much homage and peace there. But there's so much that's happening because mass levels, we've moved into the time period where you're being prepared for mass levels that just say, hey, I need to know about myself and how we need to operate and function on earth, because, you know, the things that have been going down hadn't been working. And you guys seem to have some type of peace and awareness that it just kind of supersedes, and just really need to know why you're good, why you have an understanding. And many of you are in position to support and ease the masses, and it's really beautiful. So this has been pretty lengthy, but not so much. As I look down, it's been a little bit since I've been on here, and I tell you, the break has been so beautiful after being on so consistently in that energy. And I am thankful for being able to, it's almost like a promotion in a way, being able to evolve, to be able to speak on the higher conscious things of life and support those who are also in those spaces as confirmational places as you guys go on and develop your platforms for many people and ascend and create in the life essentially that you desire, because we're in a space now where those things are possible rapidly. Rapidly. If nothing else, that you're recognizing on both sides of the domain, within the physical and within the spirit, you have recognized the timetable. One of the things that the current crisis has introduced is the quickness. One of the things that you are recognizing on the other side is also the instant manifestation. Both are available. And that is the beauty that you are getting within this time period of knowing that you are able to shift into those different domains of life quicker than you've been able to shift in them before. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I look forward to working with you. See you soon.